All right, welcome to Sales Pipeline Radio, live from McCormick Place West in Chicago, Illinois. We're here at the Salesforce Connections Conference, wrapping up this afternoon. But Sales Pipeline Radio waits for no man or woman. So excited to be here live with you. Excited to have John Flannery live from North Coast San Diego. And we're going to talk a little bit about sales strategy. We're going to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk a little bit about family and have a real fun conversation today. If you are joining us live on Sales Pipeline Radio. Hopefully you are not. If you're in here, come on over. I'm over by the Fig and Prosciutto sandwich line. So you can come on. They got a few left. Dinner lunch is almost over here. But if you want to join us live, come by the table. If you're watching or listening live, we're glad that you're here. You can be part of the show. If you have a comment on what we're talking about today, if you've got a question for John, throw that into the comment section. We will see that. We can refer to that. We can comment on that. We can bring it up on screen. Have some fun with that. If you are watching and listening on demand, thank you so much for continuing to subscribe, to download. Over 250,000 of you have downloaded episodes of Sales Pipeline Radio over the years, and just could not be more appreciative. And of course, every episode, if you like what you hear today, if you're a first timer here and you like this, every episode, past, present, and future of Sales Pipeline Radio, always available at salespipelineradio.com. Very excited for our guest today, John Flannery, sales trainer to the stars. We met at a Sales Power 2.0 or Sales 2.0 conference in San Francisco years ago, and just really enjoyed learning from you, and just consider you a friend. And thank you so much for being here.
Matt, thank you. I believe you started 2008. Is that right?
2018. Yeah, no, 2008. You're right. I got my decades wrong. 2008. Yeah.
2008. I was 2005, and we met at Selling Power in downtown San Francisco. Yeah. And we had a great conversation. Our initial conversation was good, and there's been many thereafter. Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Thank you. And one of the many reasons I appreciate you is when we did our prep call last week for this, I assume we were going to be talking about like sales technology, sales strategy. We immediately just started talking about our kids and family and entrepreneurship, and what being an entrepreneur has allowed for us in our lives and in our business. And you have your youngest is just graduating from college.
Yeah.
My oldest is a junior in high school and is at the beginning of that path. And it was fascinating to kind of compare notes on those stages, but also just talk about what being an entrepreneur, doing your own thing, has enabled for being able to lean in on family. Talk a little bit about what you've learned about that over your
years. Yeah. It's been 21 years, Matt, in this business. So when I started, Shane was 3 and Hannah was 1, and Hannah just graduated from college, as you said. So being an entrepreneur at that time meant something very different than it does today, right? So at the time when I started, the kids were young. There was no school, no rigor around that I could dive in. But in the first couple of years after they got going to school, I really had to carve out different times to support my wife, who had the hardest job on planet Earth, stay-at-home mom, and working part-time. As we get later into our career here, I think the ability to have the flex in the schedule to get to college volleyball matches or to graduation we just had and the things that we have, it's a blessing. But I'll tell you, that multitasking on the front end of the career with small kids, you're smiling because you and your wife have dealt with it. It's a trade-off. Instead of working for a bigger company where things are more structured and formal, I can make my own calendar. And the comment is, you only have to work half time. You just decide which 12 hours of the day you want to work. And that's what it's been. I wouldn't trade it. How about yourself?
I would. So it was November 2008. The market had just tanked. Like we were in the financial markets were in free fall. My wife finally pregnant with our first child, Claire, who's junior in high school now. And so like at the time it didn't feel as scary because I had something lined up and I thought I could get a couple other prospects to close, and one of them I did. It was just me and a laptop. Like there was no employees, there's no payroll, there's nothing like we have today. But it's been a lot of hard work. Martha Stewart was the afternoon keynote yesterday, and the gal that was interviewing her at one point said, like, you've just been just this rocket ship of success. And Martha immediately interrupted and said, no, this has been a slog. This is still a slog. I love the slog. And I think to realize it and to be able to lean into it, knowing that no matter who you see out there, like they've been at it for a very long time.
Yeah.
There are no overnight successes. And, if you're willing to lean into what is really a slog, it's doing hard work. It's sort of a variation of, if you want to be great at sales, in sales, you got to be good at prospecting. You got to be good at the details. You have to be good at just the daily activity and the regular no's. And you have to just be oblivious or ignorant or whatever to keep moving forward for something that you really believe in. And I think whether you're John Flannery or Martha Stewart, like, the story's kind of the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to say I have her reach. I haven't looked at the news. I haven't looked at the news today, Matt. I do this. I get a feed. I get some feeds on business news, but I don't look at the general news. I'm up at 5:30, quiet time for 30 minutes. And then I'm here till 5:30, 6 o'clock. I don't do it 70, 80 hours a week like I used to. I now work out. I take care of myself. Different part of my career, right? Totally different.
Yeah.
But the balance thing always comes up. You see that in articles and in podcasts and things. I'm not really sure how you do that. I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade it for anything. The headaches and the successes that go along the way. The slog is true.
Yeah.
Most of what I do, I love. Some I don't, but that's the part we call work.
I mean, that's kind of the gist everywhere, right? Like, someone told me once, they said, like, the grass is greener on the other side because it's fertilized with BS, right? Like, it's not real. It's not what you think it is. And even the dream jobs, like, I could live my life 100 times over and probably not be as lucky as I am right now with my family and my life and my work. And it's not all fun and games. It's frustrating. It's stressful. Like, there's a lot of, but if you sort of have a vision for what you want out of that and what that's enabling, I think for a long time, like, I think, I don't know how much this resonates with other people listening or watching. Like, for a long time, just the slog was the slog. Like, I was just like, I don't know where this is going. I just know I'm going to work hard. I'm going to continue to try to move up the chain a little bit, continue to try to make a little more money, find the right place for me and the right job for me. And then that was kind of like, there was no end in sight. Kind of like when you're young, you're like, well, I'm never going to die. This is going to continue. And at a certain point, you're like, well, what am I doing this for? And it doesn't mean you stop working. It doesn't mean you get lazy, but it means you start to put things in context. You put the things that are most important to you in context. And everyone may have a different version of what that is. For me, it's centered around family and faith. So understanding what's most important to you and then aligning the work, and in some cases, the hard work, the continued slog in support of that. It makes it worthwhile.
I agree. I would say family autonomy is very important to me.
Yeah.
I don't have to work with a particular prospect. I don't have to do something at a particular time of the day, but the accountability is still full, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It's given me the ability to match up with people like you, other people I want to work with. It's great.
That's fun. So let's pivot here. We've got on Sales Pipeline Radio today, John Flannery. He is a longtime sales trainer, sales expert, author, blogger, producer, songwriter, all the things. And, I'm curious, like, you and I both been doing this a long time. And, there's a focus on, for me, it's a focus on pipeline. For you, it's a focus on sales excellence. But how to go about that has changed significantly for both of us, in the last 18, 20 years. What is relevant right now? When you're in front of sales leaders, helping them design the sales systems that are going to be successful rest of this year and beyond, like, what are you prioritizing for them?
Yeah, the topic hasn't changed. The content within the topic has.
Yeah.
It's buying. How are people buying? Improving your selling results doesn't mean you refine your pitch. You get your elevator pitch. You learn what to say in the first 13 seconds of a phone call, although we work on all those things. It's understanding buying. And you can't talk about buying and you can't talk about business with those two letters popping up everywhere, AI. We know what they are, but it's really making sure that sales leaders are helping their sellers to understand what is going on in the buying side. And last year, Matt, in the middle of the year was a funky time in business. I'm talking Great Recession. I'm talking about COVID. I'm talking about all sorts of things where there was such great uncertainty in the market into what policy was going to impact business for the next 3 to 6 months. I'm talking about tariffs and just general uncertainty. We had to refresh again. The medium that we use is sales process.
Yeah.
But sales process is based on buying. It's based on buying. So that's the topic that keeps coming up time and time again. But what's within that topic is the key part we speak to sales leaders about.
I like that framing, and I've heard a lot of people, kind of pivot the way they talk from selling to buying. And I think it's a really, really valuable frame, because if you just focus on the way you want to sell, the way your sales process was set up when you sold before. Like, I have a good friend who, I worked with him in a company that was selling to real estate agents, and he had come from a long, successful career at IBM. And he was bringing an IBM sales process to residential real estate agents where you could have a one-call close. So like there were things that those processes had in common, but the buying process was radically different.
Yeah.
And so if we're able to orient to who the buyer is and how they buy, you're going to reduce the friction between you and the buyer. You're going to increase your credibility with the buyer and just generally be more successful. So I think like it's a really valuable frame to think about buying versus selling.
Yeah. And on the title of this conversation we're having is the tactical execution of commercial strategy, which is a hoity-toity way of saying, how do we have one conversation at a time with the key players? You said IBM is here, residential real estate is mom and pop over here, right? It's a very different thing. How do we have targeted conversations that make sure we understand what's important to them, even if they don't know what they're looking for? Most people are looking, right? And how do we make sure that we are tracking moving forward? That has not changed in my 39 years of sales. The conditions around that have changed radically. I got hired, the stock market went down like 500 points in October of 1987. 500 points today doesn't even make the news, right? So it's the conditions and making sure that the leaders understand. They all say they have commercial strategy, Matt. They all say they have it. But then when you walk out of a sales kickoff meeting, you've been to dozens, so have I. How are we going to execute? And in order to execute, we got to understand buying. That's the part where we start and we build around. And if that doesn't reflect in your pipeline, just to tie thematically into everything we're doing here on Sales Pipeline Radio, you're going to have gaps.
Yeah.
And you've seen those gaps that are a mile wide and some that are tighter. But that's really the essence of the pull through in what we do. I know your marketing engine, because you have helped us with opportunity development in the pipeline. When we engage with Heinz, we intersect in there.
Yeah, I think it's important to make sure that you've got alignment. So there's jazz hands alignment at sales kickoff, right? Where the leaders get up on stage and say, we're all on one team. We all believe in the same thing. And then there's operational alignment on Thursday morning. Like, how does the team actually operate? And, I think the increased accelerated use of tools, and I'll say we've had tools in sales forever. Like AI is just another form of that. But if we expect these tools to be successful, we have to tell them what to do. And I think what we're finding in a lot of organizations is there is a lack of defined workflow and process that is fundamentally creating the inconsistencies we see from humans executing. And this isn't just sales, this is marketing, CS, this is all departments. If you're just relying on humans and institutional knowledge to do this, that bubblegum and scotch tape application might work in the past. But if you now expect certain components of that to be autonomous, if you haven't developed not just the workflow for that component, but the integration in, during, and out in a complex, increasingly complex buying motion. So I've never been a big, process is boring to me, but process is essential to unlocking this. Here comes we're going to get the voice from heaven again, telling us we're late for our flight to Cleveland.
I'd like the Cobb salad.
Yeah, I think they're out. Like there's if you want the quinoa power bowl, I think they're almost out of that. They're definitely out of the hot chicken sandwich. I don't recommend the hot honey chicken sandwich. It was very dry. It's a conference center, right? Like they had to make 5,000 of these. What are you gonna do? It's
McCormick. It's huge.
It's enormous. We're only in like the west part of it. There's a bigger part over across the train tracks. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Let alone like they built this thing nowhere near hotels, so it's out in the middle of nowhere. So like the taxi and the Uber line is ridiculous, guys.
Yeah, you're on the pier. You're out there on the lake.
Way out
Matt, you said jazz hands at the kickoff meeting.
Yeah.
Yes. And how many slides do you need to express your commercial strategy? And I went to a kickoff meeting this year in Houston, and they had one slide to explain the commercial strategy. It just warmed my heart, because when you do that, you have to make decisions. You have to eliminate things you're not going to do, and then say, and they call it strategy on a page, SOAP. Not the best acronym, but it worked.
Nope.
And then,
go ahead. Then
what, right? So then when they walk out the door, what are the individuals in customer facing roles doing on a regular basis? Not everybody touches the customer at the same time going from lead to revenue, but what does that look like? Yeah. And if that's not clear, you're going to have gaps. And if it ever works 100% of the way we roll it out, Matt, you and I should retire and collect royalty checks. So somewhere in between.
I'm all for royalty checks. That sounds great.
Yes.
And the problem is, like, even if you define something, the world, your environment, your culture, your competitive environment, your industry will continue to change. And so you need to continue to sort of adapt to that. I could say complete sentences. I want to do a shout out to Dan Album and to Marcelo, who are here live watching. Looks like both of you coming in from, actually Dan's coming in from YouTube, Marcelo here from LinkedIn. Thank you both for your comments in today's episode. It seems, I literally just before this session sort of finished an article for Substack. It's publishing Saturday morning around the future of the BDR function. And I was told 3 years ago that BDRs were going away, that by now they would be literally extinct. And it almost seems like the opposite has happened. Like 58% of companies that were surveyed recently said they're increasing their BDR investments. It's just going to be depending on your go-to-market motions, you're going to have to combine agents and humans and robots together in a compelling way. But I think that unless it's just robots selling to robots entirely, like our lizard brains, especially with high trust consideration purchases, need to talk to a human.
I'm quoting a magazine that one of our customers is in this month. It's called Multilingual Magazine.
Sure.
It's commercial translations.
Okay.
And it talks about, and in their business, AI is real and impactful, but it reflects just what you said. It says performance comes from judgment, adaptability, and trust in people. So if it's robot to robot in Amazon because I need something for the garden, or if it's a multinational rollout of 12 different languages for a medical device release, they're going to put something in your heart, Matt, to make you live longer. You better get that right. Yep. And that's a human conversation, right? So all this talk of, I replace my BDRs with $90 a month of bots, I don't buy it. I think it depends on the sale that you're talking about, your familiarity with the customer, and do we have to connect at some level?
I agree with you. There isn't one simple answer. We want one simple answer, and everyone's got a different go-to-market motion, a different sales cycle. The time between sales is important, whether it's inbound or outbound, whether it's direct or channel. It's all going to impact your motion. And even within one organization, you may have different go-to-market motions for different segments of your market as well. So, we for as long as I've been doing this, like, everybody wants the easy button, and I wish it existed. And if we invent that, John, I tell you, the royalties and checks are going to be amazing.
Yes, we'll be offshore of Cardiff. They'll bring us the surf and turf burritos to the yacht.
Just gonna press a button and say, Juanita's, I need some more chicken noodle soup, please.
It's nowhere near. It's the similar marketing that we saw 5 years ago that says cold calling is dead, which it's not.
Right.
There's different ways to make it successful. So there's not one size fits all in terms of any type of sale. I had somebody say to me at a music festival this weekend, sales is sales. And I completely disagree with that. It's not. The jewelry booth at the music festival is entirely different than what Salesforce.com is doing or what some of our high-end enterprise selling organizations are doing.
Or you just go, you're like, hey, a ring's a ring. Like, they're all the same rings and everyone just wears the same ring. So a sale's a sale, right? A ring's a ring. Just buy whichever. It doesn't matter.
Not true.
Not true. All right. Well, we are out of time. They're probably going to kick us out here because they're out of lunch. And I don't know what else they're going to do in this room. But this has been fun, John. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your insights. Thank you, Dan and Marcelo, for being here. For people that want to learn more about you, Dan, that want to learn more about you and sort of continue to follow you, where should they go?
They can go to www.drive-revenue.com. It's Flannery Sales Systems, or you can just go to LinkedIn and find John E. Flannery on there. Matt, thank you so much for the time. Pleasure to know you. I'll see you within a month when you're down here with your family, right?
Yeah, we will be down for our annual Kick It at the Beach. It's basically beach, tacos, naps, repeat for 2 weeks. And
Good for you. I will reach out to you in advance and come up for a brief visit so I don't interrupt the family time. But thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Thanks for joining another episode of Sales Pipeline Radio. We'll be back next week. More guests, more insights. We'll see you then. Take care.
Thanks, Matt.